What's goody? It's your host Jay Rose as always, and I know I said I was gonna stop being negative, but I need to be negative one more time before the playoffs start around. We're gonna get a lot of great hoops. I'm gonna be celebrating great hoops and getting really analytical and critical in the playoff time. But right now, I do want to reflect on the season a little bit. I got a season awards video coming out, my prediction for who's going to win the finals, all of that coming soon. But right now, I want to talk about the biggest disappointments in this past NBA season. Let's get into it. Over 90% of the people that watch my content are not subscribed. So if you're messing with the videos, please hit that sub button and the noti bell so you'll get notified every time I upload. But let's get back to the hoops. First up, it's kind of a weird one. I got Ja Morant. Now, I feel like a lot of people are disappointed in Ja Morant, and I don't think it's weird that I'm also disappointed in him. I just think the scenario that he's in is really weird. Like, I'm not entirely sure that his dip in play is fully his fault, but it is at the same time. I think a couple seasons ago when Ja Morant was just playing normally, the Grizzlies kind of had this next man up mentality where Ja would go out and they'd stay afloat because they have the pieces and they know their personnel and they can just fit pieces in where they need to be and they can keep their offense rolling. They can run an offense without Ja Morant needing to be there. And that next man up mentality kind of turned into a full party mentality. Like, this is a team effort. This is a full team effort. Like, we don't need any one guy taking a whole lot of shots or consistently having the ball in his hand. And I think that's really the best way that you use Ja Morant. Now, I will say it is his fault for the off-court antics, getting suspended for so many games. I'm obviously not going to blame you for getting hurt, but the suspensions could have been avoided, and that does add to this. They've been without Ja Morant for so long at this point that they kind of had to learn to adapt in order to win games. So now this season, who knows? Ja Morant has been dealing with injuries on and off this year, but either way, like, if I'm a coach of the team and the players just in and out, got antics going on, injuries, hey, I'm going to try and make this a cohesive unit kind of offense, and that's what they've been running. And I guess that's part of the reason why Taylor Jenkins has gotten fired, because Ja Morant wants the ball more. And honestly, with them giving him the ball more with Taylor Jenkins out of the door, he looks great. So the fact that he could have been doing this the whole season kind of gives me like a what if scenario. I feel like if Ja really was playing at full throttle and with the ball in his hands, because that with Ja Morant on your team, why wouldn't you put the ball in his hands? That's your point guard too. Put the ball in his hands. Like, let him go to work, because when he goes to work, he does great things. I think he could have been in the MVP conversation if things really went how I feel like they should have went this season for him and the Grizzlies. But either way, Ja Morant's my first disappointment of the year. My second disappointment, I originally was going to talk fully about the Phoenix Suns, which still applies because Phoenix is still very disappointing. The fact that you have Devin Booker and Kevin Durant playing very, very well and you still can't do anything because your defense is shot and your playmaking is shot and your third option is Bradley Beal, that's tough. That's tough. And now, no disrespect to Bradley Beal from the standpoint of I think he's a decent offensive player. I think he could contribute to winning basketball in the right role. But when you're making $50 million and you have a no trade clause, there's a certain standard that you have to live up to. And the fact that you're not the best player on the team, you're not the second best player on the team, I don't even know if you're the third best player on the team most nights. And it's arguable that you're not the fourth best player on the court some nights. So I'm just very disappointed in that. And I feel like Bradley Beal had an opportunity to go somewhere else and waive his no trade clause and let Phoenix build something. And he intentionally did not do that for whatever reason. I guess he's comfortable in Phoenix, and I guess I can understand it from that standpoint. You have the no trade clause, so who am I to tell you not to use it, right? But I just feel like he knows that this situation is lost, and if he really wanted to win and he really wanted to see his teammates on this team win, he wouldn't forcefully keep himself here. Honestly, I do actually now want to talk about Phoenix, because the fact that you traded for Bradley Beal knowing that he had this extension, knowing that he had this no trade clause, knowing that you'd have zero flexibility, and then on top of that, for the second apron to come in, now you really have no flexibility. And all you had to do was not trade for Bradley Beal. That was such a rash decision that I didn't like in the moment, and I hated knowing how it panned out. The Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Phoenix Suns era was horrible. It was horrible. What did they accomplish? This team did very, very close to nothing. And the fact that they missed the play-in this year, that's not a good look at all for Phoenix, and it's not a good look for Bradley Beal. But hey, man, I wouldn't be complaining either if I'm getting 50 mil, and I'm getting 50 mil to watch a lot of these games because Bradley Beal was hurt a lot too. So shoot. My next disappointment is Orlando. And Orlando is funny because Orlando was so good in the beginning of the season that they convinced me that they were going to be good the entire season. They were so good last year in the playoffs as well that I came into the season thinking they were going to be good. And I can't put too much on the team because they have been dealing with a ton of injuries. Paolo came in super hot. Paolo came in and looked like an MVP candidate damn near to start the season off. He gets hurt, tears something. He's out for months. Franz Wagner then picks up where Paolo was, damn near to the T. And then he tears something and he's out for a decent amount of the season. So both of their stars missed a lot of time. Even when Paolo was out, they were still winning games. Paolo came back. I feel like they started losing a little bit more, but it wasn't crazy until Jalen Suggs officially went out for the season. And they lost a lot of moxie when Suggs went out. They've gone on losing streaks, and they're just not the same Orlando team that I thought they were. Like, they don't look as gritty as they usually do. They don't look as active as they usually do. So, yeah, not having enough offense to really sustain your style of play, and then losing some of your best defensive players is not going to help you. I honestly thought the Magic were going to take a decent step this season, and to see how the Pistons have pretty much overlapped them is very, I don't want to say concerning, but definitely surprising to say the least. I have the New York Knicks on this list. Now, I know Knicks fans are going to be like, what are you talking about? We've won so many games. We're like the 3rd seed. We're chilling right now, right? And my response to that is, you're the 3rd seed, but you can't beat anybody that's above you. All the best teams in the NBA are winning against the Knicks. I don't know what the exact stat is, but the Knicks have a very, very crazy losing record against the best teams in the league. So it's really not a good look going into the playoffs, knowing that you're going to have to run into these teams. And to add insult to injury, tonight, you play the Detroit Pistons, who are a very, very hungry up-and-coming team. And that's a very likely playoff matchup for you. So you come in hot, and you want to really show that team what you're made of. I saw the atmosphere. It wasn't like they weren't trying. It was tough defense, very gritty game, and they lost. So I feel like the Knicks are just not showing me that they can close out big games. Like, they're just not doing that. Will they turn it around in the playoffs? Maybe, but their defense hasn't been good enough this entire season. I feel like you have to kind of get into a shootout to beat any team if you want to win as the New York Knicks. And a lot of teams also have firepower as well. So I just feel like the defensive moxie, kind of like the Magic, the defensive moxie and the defensive prowess they had that they held their hat on last season, that Tom Thibodeau teams usually hold their hat on, they don't have at all. They traded away Julius, who was not a good defender, which is why this is even crazier to me. I think because Karl Anthony Towns plays the center position and he's filling in for Isaiah Hartenstein, who was a lot better defensively last year, to be frank. And his rim pressure, or not his rim pressure, but his rim protection is just not nearly as high. I feel like the paint and the drives is just overall higher on this team. And Jalen Brunson already being your point guard, you're going to have to cover for that, because as much as I love JB, he's not a great defender. So you have Cat on the floor. You have you have Cat and JB on the floor. They actually have filled their roster out with great defenders in OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, and Josh Hart. And their defense still isn't good. Like, it's genuinely not good. Their bench unit is horrible. Absolutely horrible. And the real reason that I did not like the Cat trade for the Knicks is because they got rid of DiVincenzo. And having a DiVincenzo on the bench right now would help y'all immensely. If you would have just kept iHeart and had a DiVincenzo on the bench, and I'm not saying that Cat has not been good as a Knick this season, but their entire identity has changed. And what I thought made this team good last year, they no longer do, and no longer have the ability to do. So I'm very concerned about how far they're going to go in the playoffs. I originally thought they could have been a finals bound team, possibly a championship team. But after the season has gone by, I'm not even sure if they beat the Bucks in a 7-game series. I'm not sure if they can beat the Celtics at all. I'm not sure if they can beat the Cavs in a 7-game series. It doesn't look too hot. I think Jalen Brunson's going to have to really go full takeover mode in this playoffs like he did last year when they were hurt. I think he's going to have to do that while they're fully healthy this year for them to really make some noise, if I'm being completely frank. I don't know how I feel about this take, but I'm somewhat disappointed in the Nuggets. For Nikola Jokic to be having the season that he has, and from a basketball perspective, as somebody who really knows the NBA, I know that if Jokic has to average that, that the team's not doing very well, because Jokic is not a guy who wants to come out and average 30, 12, and 10 a night. Jokic is a guy who's trying to average, he'll probably give you the 12 and 10 still, but he wants to average around 23, keep the, you know what I'm saying? Keep the usage rate low, let his team go, let his team play. He's a playmaker at heart as well, so he wants to see the plays develop, let guys get to their spots, let the team be the team. He's going to get his, but he also wants Murray to get his. And he wants MPJ to get his. He wants Aaron Gordon to get his. But this season, nobody's really consistently getting theirs except for Jokic. And it really is showing when you can have a 60-point game and lose, and then follow that up with a 45-point game and lose, and follow that up with a 39-point game and lose, average 45 points for a 3-game stretch, and not win a single game. How much of that falls on Mike Malone is a question to be answered with his firing. Personally, I don't think he should have gotten fired. If the beef with Mike Malone was, oh, you're starting Russell Westbrook and you're not giving Julian Strawther enough minutes, that's really neither here nor there, especially since Westbrook was having a good season this year. If you want to argue he shouldn't be closing games, you can have that. But respectfully, he wouldn't be closing games if Jamal Murray was not hurt. So is it really the coach's fault that you're trusting a rookie over this vet? The vet happens to be kind of brash. He can either give you a great play or one of the worst plays you've ever seen. And it's really on a night-to-night basis with Russell Westbrook at this point in his career. He can either give you a great super clutch play, or he's going to tremendously fuck up. So it's between that and a rookie. Is that the GM's fault or is that the coach's fault? Now, both of them are gone. So I mean, I guess the answer might actually be both of them. I feel like it's been the Jokic show, and obviously Jokic can carry you to wins. He can carry a team that looks like they should be on pace for like 20, 25 wins to around 50 wins. So clap it up for Jokic for doing that. But I feel like in the playoffs, it's going to come back to bite them. We don't know when Murray is coming back. He's been hurt for a little minute, and I've noticed when stars get hurt near the playoffs, they usually try to come back a little too fast. And sometimes they're ready and they can do that, like we saw Luka do last year. Sometimes they're nowhere near ready and they are genuinely hurt and shouldn't be playing, like Kawhi Leonard and, in my opinion, Joel Embiid. But he played absolutely phenomenal last year. It was clear he was hurt, but he played phenomenal last year, so I won't even count that. But like a Kawhi, who shouldn't even be on the court, you knew immediately he should not have been on the court, right? So I just feel like the last time we've seen the Nuggets like this, and honestly, every time we've seen the Nuggets go back to this, we need Jokic to absolutely dominate every game in order for us to get a chance to win. They have not won. So we saw it last year in the conference finals, or in the conference semifinals, to go to the conference finals. They didn't even get to the conference finals. They didn't get there. When Jamal Murray and MPJ were hurt, it was all Jokic. They lost to the Warriors, who were the eventual champs. But yeah, I feel like when the Nuggets are at their best is when the team is running like a well-oiled machine, and it's not just Jokic save me, right? So I just don't feel like they have that same firepower, that same threat that they had last season, when I was really like, yo, the Nuggets are the team to beat the whole year. Let me know if you agree, disagree with my takes. If you liked the video, like the video, and if you didn't, make sure you subscribe, because I know you're gonna like the next one, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.